Hello and welcome to the March edition of Northwest City Politics. I'm your guest host, Eric Margolis. Today we'll be meeting with City Councilmember Mike Ostaffe from the city of Maple Grove. And we'll be spending some time hearing about what's happening in Maple Grove and learn a little bit more about Mike himself, his interests in serving the residents of Maple Grove, and just all about his wonderful family. So welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So let's start off with what got you interested in serving in elected public office. I think it goes back to maybe your time in the school board?
It goes back to 2015, 2016, when I was elected to the Ostaffe School Board. I was seeing a lot of changes and a lot of issues going on within the district, and I wanted to serve. So after a lot of cajoling from a lot of my friends, and I decided to run, and I was elected and served for 4 years on the Ostaffe School Board, and about 2.5 as board chair.
Wow, so that's a pretty lengthy amount of time to be serving the residents of Ostaffe. But now the way the school district works, right, is at that time were you also living and residing in Maple Grove then?
Well, yeah, it's the Ostaffe School Board, but we cover 7 cities from Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, Ostaffe, Maple Grove, Plymouth, Corcoran, and Rogers, and a little bit of Dayton. So yeah, I lived in Maple Grove. I've lived in Maple Grove for 19 years now.
Excellent. And so you live there with your wife and children, right? You've raised your family essentially in Maple Grove.
Yep, I moved up here from the Chicago suburbs back in 2006, chose Maple Grove at the time, and have been extremely happy with my choice, you know, from my family perspective, from, you know, just the life of living in Maple Grove, my neighborhood, my neighbors. It's been great.
So what would be one of the biggest lessons that you would say you learned from your time on the school board that would continue to inspire you to serve the city of Maple Grove in other capacities?
I think one of the biggest things is that you need to listen to people, and you may not always agree with them. They may not always agree with you, but, you know, to show the respect that at least you're listening, and that, you know, you are aware of what's going on around, not just, you know, this is my thing, I believe in this, and this is all that I'm going to do. So I try to do that on the council, and I've tried to bring that into the planning commission, then on the city council.
Yeah, and your transition to elected office in city council went through the planning commission, right?
Correct.
And so that's a pretty vital role in the city. How did you get involved with that?
After I was no longer on the school board, some people had reached out. There was going to be an opening, and I applied, went through the process, and you know, gratefully was selected to be a member of the planning commission. And as you mentioned, that is a good transition to come on to council, because for those 3.5, almost 4 years, I learned a lot. I did work with everyone on council. I worked with the staff. I worked with you know, the planning team. So you got to see really what was going on in the city, especially from the development standpoint. And Maple Grove has a lot of development going on past 4 years,
thriving,
and
yes,
continuing to go. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there was recently some new businesses that opened. I think you were at one of them earlier, I believe.
Yeah, just a few hours ago, I was sliding down at Slick City Action Park, and that's a new business in right next to the Fountains of Arbor Lakes, in the business park, and it's 40,000 square foot of trampolines and slides and all kinds of fun stuff for little kids and big kids like me.
So that's a big investment in Maple Grove, right? It brings jobs, it brings infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And a project like that, you know, it takes some time. So did it start while you were on the planning commission?
That's actually a project that probably been in works for, you know, 6 to 9 months. It didn't have to go through the planning commission because that type of use was already approved for those buildings.
Oh, okay.
So it was already a pre-approved use. But they have 75 employees. Met the owners today, great people. This is their the first Slick City that they're opening up. They're opening another one down in Woodbury, and they're trying to expand even further. First franchisee of the business, which is based out of Texas. So we welcome them with open arms to Maple Grove, and appreciate the jobs and appreciate the entertainment and the draw to bring people in and, you know, walk over to our restaurants and stay in our hotels.
Wow, that's amazing. 6 to 9 months, turned it around and have this, you know, brand new business now opening up. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. I can't wait to check it out myself.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you got to enjoy some of the activities there yourself.
Oh, yeah, I slid down a few things and got to catch some air and, fly like Superman. So it was actually quite fun.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I hope the residents get to enjoy that soon. So now you've been involved in overseeing the education of, students, encompassing the ones in Maple Grove. You've been part of the Planning Commission, helping to ensure that, the city continues to thrive and grow. And then you wake up and you say to yourself, I want to be on the city council. Is that how did that transition work?
No, it really didn't happen like that. I was very happy on a planning commission. I was serving my community in that way, and it was fun. Not necessarily a lot of stress, but you're involved. And we had two good city councilwomen, Judy Hansen and Christy Burnett, who decided to not run for re-election. So there were two openings, and with a lot of encouragement from them and from many, many others, I decided to run. It was time. I have the time. I have, I think the willingness and ability to serve. So I decided to take that on.
Wow. And so now that was just recently. So you got elected this last November.
Correct.
And you are now at the start of your first term as an elected city council member.
Correct.
And now the city council is made up of how many members?
Well, we have 5 members. There's 4 council members and the mayor.
Okay.
So who has the same vote as everybody else, but he ends up leading the agenda and leading the meetings.
So there's different forms, right? So does the city administrator play a role in running the city, or is it all driven policy by the council itself, or?
Well, we will set policy, but Heidi Nelson, our city administrator, really runs the city, and her direct reports are all the directors, who we hire, but they report to Heidi, and she does the day-to-day managing of the city. So
now we can translate the current role that you have to kind of what it was like on the school board, right? Because as the board chair and a member of the school board, you worked with the superintendent who actually had administrative oversight over all of the department heads. But you, as a member of the school board, much like you are now on the city council, kind of direct policy and make decisions about budgeting and.
The two big things is you hire a great city administrator, you work with her to hire a great staff, and then you set the budget and the priorities. And the priorities come from looking at what do we want in the way of public safety, roads, parks, clean water. Those are the main things that we need to focus on. And then you look at what each of those are going to cost, and then prioritize each of them against each other, and work with the department heads, work with the different city council members, reach out to our residents to understand what they want, what they don't want, and build that budget. And that budget right now is about $52 million for 2025, and that's our levy, and then we spend other monies on roads and water. So our total spending as a city is around $112, $150 million annually.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And I guess in this particular budgetary year, right, there's a lot of pressures from the outside, inflation, various other challenges. So it must be extremely challenging. How do you go about balancing those priorities when you want to try to maintain, the tax base hasn't grown significantly or hasn't shrunk, but you don't want to raise, a levy much higher than is sustainable? No,
we don't want to raise the levy. This year, before I got on, the levy was raised 6.97%, trying to keep it underneath that 7%, just barely. But that really came from wage inflation pressures, the cost of goods. A fire truck has gone from $1.5 million to $2.5 million. Wow. And it's something that has to be planned for because the delivery time is now 2 years or more. Wow. So those are all things. We have a capital improvement plan that we're currently looking out 5 years or more to say what is going to happen. We have roads that need to be replaced and maintained. We have park trails. That was just the discussion that we had last night during our work session of how much money we will need to spend over the next 10 years to maintain and to replace the 130 some miles of bike trails that we have in the city, walking trails. And then, we have the community center, which is a huge project. all of our parks. We completed several great parks over the last several years. And then the next big thing after that is going to be the water treatment facility. And that is easily going to be a $100+ million project.
Wow, that's a lot of work. Now, that capital improvement planning, the CIP, right, I think, is that still sitting around, is it $200 million, I think, that you guys were looking at for over those 5 years? Or?
I mean, with the community center at $110 or $112 million, you have over $100 million for the water. The roads are $10 million every year. So yeah, it is definitely well above $200 million over the next 5 to 10 years.
So where does the city go to get funding to help for that, aside from the residents through its taxes? Other avenues that the city looks at to get that?
For our water fund, a lot of that comes from the trunk connection fees that we have, as well as the cost of our water. And then when we'll look to Hennepin County, we'll look to the state, we'll look to the Met Council, we'll look to the federal government. A lot of their monies will come through the state or through Hennepin County. So there's a lot of sources that we try to pull together, like the 610 project. That's a huge project that everybody is involved in, state, federal,
Met Council,
local. I don't know if Met Council, but definitely Hennepin County, us. So yeah, everyone has a little part of that. We're looking for funding right now to replace the bridge over 169 that connects Maple Grove and Brooklyn Park between Elm Creek Boulevard and Brooklyn Boulevard. It was hit by a vehicle earlier, late last year. It's lane restricted, it's weight restricted, and that's a huge connector for the industrial sections of Maple Grove and for Brooklyn Park for trucks coming in and out. And with the growth of the business center along 694 and 169 in Maple Grove, it's just going to become more heavily trafficked as we go forward. So that, I think Senator Limmer just put a bill in today to ask specifically for that through some transportation funding. And that's something that is very important to us, to make sure that we have good infrastructure in that area as we continue to grow in that area.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So these projects, they have so many different moving parts and different partners, right? Not only does the city partner with the county, but also the state, and you also mentioned the federal government. Must be a lot to have to, learn and how to process. Like, how do you approach, as a city council member, a project of that breadth? Like, what is your most active role in those types of projects?
Our active role is listening to our directors of public works, our director of finance, our city administrator, because they're the ones who have the closest view of what's going on, where we can get these funds, how do we access these funds, what's the process of doing that. We were at the Capitol last week, all 4 of the council members, with our city administrator, speaking to 4 out of the 5 of our elected representatives and senators. I believe 3 are going to be down tomorrow doing a similar thing. So it's always about trying to work with our legislators to get that funding and to ensure that the things that we need are on the radar of our elected representatives from the state and the county and the Met Council.
So would that be like a legislative action committee within the city, or is it just yourselves as city council members going and partnering directly with the elected officials that are overseeing those groups, or the city itself?
Well, there's both the city. We have 4 bills that we're tracking that are important to Maple Grove, and then there's the League of Minnesota Cities, and there's other groups that we are a part of that focus on different aspects of bills that the state is looking to put through, or we would like the state to put through. So we have 4 small ones, but specific to Maple Grove, that we're tracking right now. And we're working with our legislators to get that through.
And those bills vary. Some of them are, asks for funding, but then others are asks for authority, almost, to change the wording of what can or can't be done. I think is in one of the bills that you're currently tracking, to change the wording of design and implement. And
it's to add one word to a bonding bill that was passed a couple years ago that authorized, I believe, $6 million to Maple Grove for pre-design design of our community center. we like to add the word construct in there.
That would be helpful.
So some of the remaining money that we haven't used for design can be used for construction purposes because it was already allocated to the project. We just want to use it in a slightly different way. So that's one of them. Another one is on that same project for the community center. We would probably spending about $2.3 million in sales taxes for all of the materials that are being used. Typically on projects of that size, the city will ask the state to forgive those sales taxes, and we're doing that, just like we've done in the past and other cities have. We're trying to extend the TIF district on the remaining 60 acres of the gravel mining area to the south of Elm Creek Boulevard for about 5 years, so that we continue to invest in that. We have 9 buildings have just gone up, warehouse, light industrial. We have 2 headquarters that are under construction as we speak. And we have about another 60 acres in there that we're trying to market and help bring in additional facilities, additional jobs.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of activity and a lot of growth and a lot for, you haven't even reached your 100 days of being in office.
No, not yet. And thankfully we have a great team and great staff that track all of that and let us know what's going on, and the different organizations that the cities are a part of that track that and lobby on our behalf and make sure that we understand what's going on, what's coming from the state that we may like or not like, and how to address that.
Excellent, yeah. And okay, so with all of this activity, and I think this is one of the things that when you were running for office, you were encouraging residents to have conversations. I think you said that you wanted to ensure that every voice was heard and that you would listen to all of them before making a decision. And so how do you balance that? Like, do you get a lot of opportunity to talk to your constituents? Do they reach out to you? How does someone in Maple Grove get more involved in what's going on with all these projects, and how do they, share feedback with you?
Things that I've done in the past, when I wasn't on the planning commission or on the council or school board, I went to the meetings. I always wanted to be involved. I wanted to know what was going on. Or if I didn't go to the meetings in person, I'd watch the video, or at least read the agenda to see what's coming up, to see if there was something there that was of concern to me or would have a positive or negative impact on me. So I always encourage people to come out, read the agenda, first and third Mondays of the month, Tuesday if it's a holiday, come on out, to the government center and sit through a meeting. Some of it's boring. Last night it was only 15 minutes. We had Commissioner Anderson from Hennepin County talk to us. It was very short, but there's other ones that have gone a few hours. And so it really depends what's on there. But become involved that way. That's one way. Go to the Planning Commission. Apply to the different commissions. The Planning Commission, we just filled my vacancy as well as another one, so 2 new members on there. We went through that process. I think we just filled a vacancy on the Park Board, a couple of vacancies on Arbor Committee, and we're looking to fill vacancies on the new reformed Transit and Mobility Commission. And we've been doing some work with Plymouth to better understand how our 2 transportation, our bus transportation systems could work better together. Since from a north-south connection, we're taking people to Plymouth, they're taking people to Maple Grove. There can be some synergies there possibly. We're both sending buses downtown in the morning and coming back in the evening. So, we're looking at opportunities to work together on that.
Wow, that's excellent. So if someone's, a viewer's watching at home today, wanted to be involved in one of these commissions, where would they get information on how to apply? Is it just on the city's website, or?
It's on the city's website, and for mobility and Arbor, and there's also Lake Quality Commission, but those have been advertised on the city's Facebook page for quite a while, and there are forms to fill out and go through a process. Basically the council will take it down to a group. If there's 20, we'll take it down to 5. Interview those people and then bring them onto the board. Arbor Commission, I think it's the leader of the Arbor Commission and the city staff member that does it. For Planning Commission, it's the city council that does that.
Excellent. Okay, and so you're no longer on the Planning Commission, and now you're part of the city council, but I think you still serve on a commission on behalf of the city of Maple Grove, right? It's the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communication Commission, right?
Right, the commission that is helping to provide this table, you,
Yeah,
and
right.
the cameras in the studio. So I've been on that since January when I joined. Prior to that, before I was running for City Council, I had applied for an opening on the CCX Media Board of Directors, and I had the opportunity to join and do that. I decided to run afterwards, and now that I'm already here for CCX Media, since we do the meetings on the same day, I was appointed to the NWSCC. So, and that's important. I do believe that this type of programming that we do with the city council meetings, the government, the sports, the parades, and everything that's going on in the city, and then CCX Create, which is helping develop different programs like this. I think it's important, and to get information out when you talk about how do people get involved. I mean, you can watch all of our meetings and planning commission meetings and city council meetings on CCX, and that's important way of getting that out there. So there's a bill. I believe it's Representative Nadeau who has just put it together to help have a more stable funding source for cable commissions. For us and for others, we're right now tied to cable, and people have been cutting the cord for quite some time now, and probably half the subscribers that were out there from 10 years ago. So that's a concern, and we need to find more stable funding sources to make sure that CCX can continue to perform the duty to its citizens that it does.
Absolutely, yeah. Community media is so unique, and we live in a time now where there's fewer and fewer outlets for people to get their opinions, their voices, information about what's happening, things that they want to share. There's very few outlets where you can do that, and one of the nice things about the Northwest City Suburbs Cable Commission is that it is 9 cities, including Maple Grove, Osseo, Robbinsdale, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Crystal, New Hope, Golden Valley, and Plymouth. And I think the commission has been around for nearly 40 years now, and it would be a shame to lose this, like you're saying. And so, to the viewers at home, in Maple Grove and elsewhere, please reach out to your representatives and talk to them about the bill so that community access television doesn't go away. But thank you for that.
Sure.
And thank you really for all you do. I mean, you're so busy, and there's so many things that you took time to come out here and be with us. And I think that really speaks volumes to your commitment of making sure your constituents are informed and also opening the door to wanting to be more receptive and to hearing from them. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Oh, sure.
And we spent a lot of time talking about the city and talking about your past experience in serving in different roles, but not so much about you.
Okay.
So let's see, you mentioned sports earlier, and I think you were very active in sports, right?
I was active in helping coach my son's teams as they were growing up, and did get together with the other parents and coach baseball and coach basketball, and had a lot of fun doing that. And that was, basically to help, my sons grow and the rest of the neighbors to continue to have fun in sports. I also have a daughter. I have triplets.
Wow.
So, that was always a big thing, trying to manage all of that.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
That aspect was a lot of fun. And then, they're now all launched, graduated college, working well, having fun. And so that part of my life of helping that is starting to slow down a little bit, and I'm very proud of what they've been able to accomplish so far.
So you're just shifting responsibilities from the home front to...
I'm just filling up the plate with more stuff.
Right, so. Exactly. Well, that's wonderful. And in addition to that, though, I think you're an active member of the Maple Grove Lions Club?
I'm currently a member of the Maple Grove Lions, I think coming up on 3 years. And I joined the Lions to help continue to give back. I was in a role with the Planning Commission that didn't have as much responsibility as when I was on the school board. So the Lions do a lot of great things. And, I've been going to Lions events for years, and decided now was the time to work with them and not just go to events, but actually participate in helping run the events and volunteering at the events. So from that standpoint, that was a lot of fun.
Wonderful. What are some of the upcoming activities that the residents of Maple Grove should mark their calendars for, or any events that of interest that you would like to see or have members participate?
I know Tails and Ales is coming up. I don't have the specific information on what that date is.
Sure.
I should. But the big one is going to be Maple Grove Days.
Right.
That's put on by Maple Grove Community Organization and funded and sponsored by a lot of different people and doing a lot of different things in that. We're going to have Chalk Fest coming up. I believe that's in June. And that drew 30-some thousand people last year.
Wow.
That was in conjunction with the city and the Maple Grove Business Association, Arbor Lakes. Just our businesses come together to fund a lot of those things. Experience Maple Grove, our destination marketing organization, they help fund Chalk Fest, and they help with some of the other activities that come on in town. So those are the big ones that are coming up, and there's a calendar, I think, at Experience Maple Grove that you can find things, and the city has their calendar, so there's a lot of opportunities out there to see what's going on.
Excellent, yeah, and then the weather's warming up, and it'll be nice to be able to get out and maybe grab a lawn chair, listen to some music in the park, or go to some of these events as well, right?
We just had a great winter for our winter sports activities. The cold, the ice, all of our outdoor rinks had great ice. That was remarkable this winter. The sledding hill didn't have as much snow, but when it did, a lot of kids went over to Gleason, and a lot of fun, at the loop. I mean, the loop at Central Park and all the other activities there. Just remarkable time, and that was a great city investment that was planned for over a 20-plus year period. Wow. To make that happen.
That's amazing. Well, I told you it would go by really fast, and now we're reaching the end of our time together. I always like to have our guests share any parting thoughts or words with the audience at home. And Mike's contact information is going to be available to you. You've probably seen it on the screen, and I know he encourages that you reach out to him. But any parting words for the residents of Maple Grove?
No, I appreciate being here, but I appreciate the citizens of Maple Grove, residents of Maple Grove, who have entrusted me with this position, and not everybody voted for me, and that's fine, because no one ever can do that. But I do want to listen to everybody. I do want to take all perspectives in. When I was running, I went out to all the major events and talked to anyone who would listen to me, and some who turned their backs, which is fine. But it really is important to come to the work sessions, come to the city council meetings. You have the ability to speak there. You have the ability to listen to what is being discussed at the work sessions. You have the ability to email all council, or you can email me. I mean, those are the opportunities to get involved. So and if you like the city, if you like the direction that it's going, or if you don't, you can get involved with the different commissions and make your voice heard. So that's what I encourage, to respectfully discuss the issues that concern you, and I'm willing to listen. I believe all the council members are willing to listen, and the mayor and everyone else involved. I think the city has been going in a great direction, and want to continue to do that with everyone's input. And again, thank you for entrusting this role with me, and I look forward to the next 4 years.
Yeah, excellent, Mike. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show, and we'd love to have you back and check in periodically throughout your time as a Maple Grove City Council member, maybe in the fall or something. You can come back and visit with us. We'd love to have you back on.
That'd be great. I appreciate it. This was kind of painless, so I'm willing to come back. So
kind of painless. That's the bar. The viewers at home know, kind of painless. And to all of you at home who tuned in and watched this or are watching online, again, we thank you for participating in community media. Please share this program with others so that more individuals can learn about the great work that's happening in Maple Grove and about great leaders like Mike Ostaffe here. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and be well. Until next time. Thanks so much, Mike. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.